To tell the story of like electric, I think the story needs to get built.
Hi, this is Zena Harris.
And I'm Mark Rabin.
Welcome to the tie-in.
Welcome back to the tie-in. We're excited to share with you all something a little bit different today. It's a double episode with two very different people, but making impact in their communities. And we thought we would just mash it together. We have so many amazing interviews that we just wanted to get some out before the end of the year. We're already into December, which is crazy. And yeah, things are rolling.
Yeah.
How are you, Zena?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm coming off a trip. I know a lot of times you talk about your travels, but I'm coming off a trip. So that's been fun being in Toronto. And but yeah, it's interesting. We got these two guys one's from Texas and the other's from Louisiana. They're talking about sustainability in their own way, and their interesting views of how they're trying to integrate various practices and think about, clean tech and theater and, all of that. So it's a fun kind of mashup. I know it's fun to include different points of view and to show us the breadth of what's going on out there, right? And how different it's just all in all sorts of corners of the industry. So pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. And also we've got some great other interviews coming down the pike here as we round out the year. I'm going to be kind of offline, I guess, from the sort of December 10th until the new year. So
always up to something, I swear.
yes. You know what? It's important to go offline. Like, the only way that anybody ever actually gets to like disconnect is to like physically not be able to get on your phone or the internet.
Yeah.
And I think that that's super important. And also something that, like, even for example, at Friends Club, the festival that Higher Ed throws, part of the magic is that there's no cell phone connection, nothing, no ability to reach a cell phone unless you have Starlink. And that kind of makes some of the magic happen. And I mean, there's always the impending doom of having to answer emails after you're back online. That's a future problem. But anyway, so it's gonna be fun to take a little bit of time off.
Well, yeah, and you like actually get to talk to people instead of like feeling weird about interrupting them from whatever they're doing on their phone or whatever. And I always feel like when I'm off the device for a little while, like you notice, like it feels different. You go about your day a little bit differently. So good for you for taking the time.
Oh yeah. It's more, I mean, for me, it's not about disrupting people. It's more about like being distracted myself by the phone. I mean, that's the kind of the biggest thing. We live in this kind of world. We talk about it here. We live in this world of distraction. Like every single thing is like trying to pull our attention. So yeah, looking forward to that. It'll be good.
Cool.
So
very cool. Well,
exciting.
Here we go, sliding into December and then rounding out the year. I mean, time is flying, and there's a lot on the slate for next year already. I mean, not only, with the podcast and our interviews and whatnot, but just looking down the pipeline and all the, potential and opportunity and, events and all this stuff going on. So, gosh, who knows what 2026 is going to hold?
It's going to be magic. It's going to be magic.
I sure hope so. Well, very cool. Good to see you this week. And to everybody out there, yay, happy December. And do like and subscribe. Help us get the word out on these wonderful stories and these people that are just opening up. It's so cool. And I always get a kick out of hearing how, folks are really embracing, sustainability, sustainable practices, whatever they're calling it in their various ways. So share it around. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Tie-In. Today, we're speaking with Tony Linan. He's a combat veteran turned filmmaker and photographer. He's driven by a passion for capturing stories that stir the soul and sometimes unsettle it. He also specializes in power sports, lifestyle, and adventure tech, and goes by the pen name Ronan Graves. From,
Yeah.
Tony.
Welcome to the
Welcome.
podcast.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So we're really looking forward to diving into this conversation because it's, you have such a unique background, and we're just curious, like, how did you, come to work in, I don't know, like, adventure tech and, power sports and these sorts of things. Can you kind of help us understand your journey?
Yeah, no problem. So I started off, man, I always had a passion just be around behind the camera ever since I was a kid. I would videotape the football, Pee Wee football games and stuff like that. And then as I got into high school, I found media production. I ended up joining the Marines shortly after 9/11. And then my first couple of years I was a mechanic, absolutely hated the job. And then I found combat camera. And there I spent the rest of my time as a combat videographer, kind of learning baptism under fire type stuff. So it was a great environment to learn that kind of stuff and get really sharp at it.
Yeah. And so with that, like, who uses that material? Like, how do they use that material? I can imagine, like, what is it? The Department of Defense uses that material?
As combat camera, our stuff was for internal use. So
Okay.
we're the eyes and ears for the commanders that are really far back in the rear that are organizing everything. So they get to see what is going on out there and what it's like. They get a better kind of picture of it. So that way they can make better decisions for whatever their plans are going forward.
Okay, gotcha.
And a lot of it ends up in archives, and you'll see, eventually one day you'll probably see some of the stuff on History Channel, Afghanistan, or something like that.
Yeah. And is video and still photography?
Yeah, video and still. I was primarily a videographer, but in the Marines, it's you learn to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. And what are the key skills then that you bring to that in every day when you're out there? Because you're obviously alongside folks, but you're looking at it, I guess, somewhat from a creative documentarian lens.
It's a creative documentary and trying to keep it as neutral as possible. You're not trying to drive a narrative. You're just, this is what's happening. And that's what it is. You're telling a story from beginning to end in little 5-minute clips that you email off.
In real time, right?
Not real time, no. So you go out there, you record all of this, and at the time we were still using a mixture of tape and digital recording.
Okay.
So we have to go back and we have to process all this. And then after processing it, we have to send it through our own networks to command that is elsewhere.
Okay, gotcha. So that was your experience in the military.
Yes.
And then, so now, like, so you've taken that, and are you still in the military? And
No, I'm far removed now. Yeah. I started off in the automotive industry as a lot photographer. I'd go from different dealerships, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it until, summertime hit, and then it wasn't as much fun. And then my wife and I, we were part of the great exodus out of California into Texas.
Okay.
And then I started my own business, and then I kind of fell into a power sports dealership. And it was like falling into a family, it was like putting on a glove. These people are just really great to work with. And it's the same thing that I would have to do in the military is you're telling a story, you're showing off the brand, and you're showing what it's capable of. You're not lying about anything. You're just, this is what it is. And we look at it this way. We're not selling stuff that people need. We're selling stuff that people want. These are toys. We're selling toys to people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a visual of what this might be, just, in my mind from, like, how it has, or what I've seen in movies and whatnot, where you've got like that cool, sexy showroom floor with the cool car or whatever, that cool piece of gear, whatever. And is that how it is?
I think about action. I think about wheels spinning and smoke coming out the back and like the faces of like the motorcyclists. I don't know. That's what comes to my mind.
There's a lot of that, and it's not just motorcycles. It's side by sides, off road racing. We got watercraft. We have a beautiful showroom floor. Probably one of the best. Wood Cycle Country. It's a family-owned business, and You come over here and it's like walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but for power sports. It's a good time.
So okay, so is this like a tourist destination place when people
It
go to
should be.
Texas? Just
It
like people
absolutely
go
should be.
to like Buc-ee's, like that's now
Yes,
on the
you know what?
national
We're not
map.
too far from a Buc-ee's either. There's a Buc-ee's right across the street from us.
I don't
That's
even know what that is.
hilarious. Oh, that's so great. Okay, just
Mhm.
I know this because I'm originally from Texas. And
Okay.
so when we go back, like this is like everybody's like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do this, and make sure you stop at the Buc-ee's. And we're like, what? And then we do, and we're like blown away.
Yeah,
What is
my
it, like
mom.
a department store? Like
No, it's a gas
fast-
station. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
gas station.
It's a gas station on steroids. It's amazing.
All right.
Anyway, so people should look you up and stop by and see
Oh
what
yeah,
what's
absolutely.
going on here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a group, and these people here are super friendly. Nobody's gonna force you to buy anything if you don't want it.
You're
You
just
know.
like,
But are you out
whoa.
in the field? Do you go
Yeah,
out in the
yeah,
field then
absolutely.
with the gear
So,
too, and that's part of the
oh yeah, it's
gig?
part of the job too. So like I'm here at the dealership, but then like once a month we have what's called a TX4 racing, which is off-road racing out through the backwoods here in Texas. And we have our own racing team, and it's our manager and one of our service mechanics, and they go out there and they're racing for about 90 minutes straight through the woods, jumping stuff, breaking stuff. There's plenty of times they broke stuff and they just kind of limped across the line, and it's a bunch of good old boys having a great time and just tearing it up.
And
And
you're
then after
shooting,
that, yeah.
you're shooting that too,
Yeah, I get to go
right?
out there and shoot that. I'll go out and walk through the Texas woods, get
Ugh.
eaten up by bugs and trying to avoid snakes.
Jeez,
And
this is like a totally different type of storytelling than we
it is.
typically,
It's
like,
very fun because having the military experience, I don't mind getting dirty. I don't mind getting all wet and nasty.
Yeah.
I do mind if I get hurt. I don't want to get hurt,
yeah,
so
don't do
I'm
that.
also very cautious about what I do, and I look for the turns and I try to give myself some cushion and wear bright colors because I don't want to get I don't want to get nailed.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 Well, so we have, Mark comes from clean tech world.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I don't know if we struggle with it, but we contemplate a lot is, this element of storytelling and this element of like, how do we communicate, the coolness of like, the tech or the coolness of like, just broadly sustainability. Cause, it kind of is like a boring topic sometimes.
Yeah.
And, but we're like, this is awesome. People could just see this,
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have any like tips on that, given that what you're trying to do is communicate how cool this stuff is.
Yeah, and it's selling the lifestyle, not so much the equipment.
Gotcha.
The equipment's nice. It's there, but it helps support the lifestyle of what you're doing.
Mhm.
And it's so vast, and the technology can be almost integrated into anything.
Mhm.
Like a while back, a really cool concept that somebody came up with was a motorcycle helmet with built-in cameras that displayed your rear view, lively.
Oh, so you could see your rear view.
Yeah. Brilliant.
As you're riding. And it was really cool. It never got off the ground. I think the person hustled a bunch of people out of money, but it's a cool idea of like
Yeah.
how you can integrate tech into a different culture,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
into a motorcycle culture or a ATV culture. You could innovate it, and it's being done all the time, but it's kind of like at a real trickle right now.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're starting to tell those stories again, like so we're, as Zena mentioned, like we're sort of looking at this entertainment lens storytelling from a climate perspective. So a couple of things, couple of questions is one, are you starting to see electrified off-road equipment and equipment start to come into it? Are you able to tap into those stories and just to like, because that's a whole thing, right? It's a different
Yeah.
style of maybe riding, a different way of doing things. And then the second part is, you're out there in nature all the time. Are you seeing the effects of a changing climate or different weather systems that are coming in that are affecting, these activities outdoors?
For outdoor activity, yeah, weather, God, yeah, weather does affect it, and it's crazy how one year, yeah, you have really nice weather, and next year it's like it's a desert out here. You got to be careful. The dust is being kicked up. You can't see anything, and it just kind of takes the joy out of it, for some. But there's others that they'll dig right through that and just kind of keep going. But y- y- the sell the tell the story of like electric, I think the story needs to get built, and
Hmm.
it needs to be built just like motorcycles were. Motorcycles was these were rebels. These were the motorcycle culture really kind of kicked off after I believe World War II.
Yeah.
These were veterans that just needed to go do something, and this is what they did, and it just kind of slowly built. So you kind of
Mm,
you needed to grow organically, and I think to do that is you got to introduce it, and then you got to find someone who's willing to really break the mold and do something different with it.
hmm.
Because like calling it eco, it kind of makes a lot of like,
Yeah.
especially motorcyclists, kind of cringe a little bit. Like, so you're calling it that, but I feel like you're going to take something away. And a lot of
Yeah.
and sometimes, they'll see the trade-off and like, well, it has less power or it looks
Yeah.
funny. And I think it needs to make its own mold.
Yeah. I am so glad you said that because this is something that, we've been grappling with. We talked to different people from
Mhm.
different corners of like entertainment, clean tech, storytelling, all of this. And one of the things that we're noticing is like, you know, you can't like there are certain words that just aren't cool or that just,
Yeah.
cause some kind of, that trigger something or,
Yeah.
that just doesn't they don't speak to people in certain ways and whatnot. And so we're kind of grappling with like, well, how like what's the cool factor? How do we tell this story? Like how do we talk about this stuff? And it's so interesting to hear you say that because like
Well,
I agree
Yeah.
like
And create a
eco
culture.
and create
yeah,
culture,
you have to
right?
create a culture of it. And look at Kawasaki right now. I don't know if you've heard of it. They're hydrogen powered
Mm.
horse. What is it? Crelo, I want to say it's
Okay.
called Crelo.
Okay.
Crelo.
Well, I'm gonna
And
look that up.
it's all concept right now. They put out some really cool videos of what it is, and it's like it's supposed to be a four-legged robotic horse with
Oh.
AI infused that's hydrogen powered that you could ride
Oh, I think
on
I
a
saw something like a
yeah.
Oh
passing.
my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay.
So we got the reel, like we seen the reel online, and then we started going walking around the shop, and everyone's kind of talking about it, seeing it, and most of what people saw was like, "That's cool. If they can make
Mm,
that happen,
mm.
I want to try that."
Uh-huh.
Who wouldn't want to try riding a robotic horse? It's very cool. It's weird. It's different, but it's like it breaks the mold, and that's what it is. If you come out with an all electric motorcycle like Harley Davidson tried to do a couple of years
The
back,
live wire.
live wire, and it had a lot of hype, but it just
Yeah, it didn't land.
it didn't land. And it's because I think it tried to integrate itself into a Harley
Yeah.
culture.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if Tesla did something, I think they might have a little bit better luck if as long as they could work on their design.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a
As long
fan
as
of
they can
that.
work on the design.
But But yeah, it's interesting though. I mean, though at the same time, I mean, if someone came out with an electric side by side or whatever they're racing on
Mhm.
your weekly racing daily
Yeah.
or series, and it started to beat the incumbent,
Yes.
that also would start to like show
Yeah. You got
that
to make
okay,
waves.
this is a real thing, right?
Yeah, you got to go out there and make waves. We
Right.
we have I've seen them for like the little kids. They're like a little 110cc electric four-wheelers.
Yeah.
Mm,
And they're really cool. They're made by CF Moto. But I haven't really seen them on the larger scale yet. At least not at any
Yeah.
racing
yeah.
events. I think one person had an all electric might have been a ATV, and I think the battery ended up dying.
Mm,
There's a lot of stuff that needs to get worked out before it could actually
yeah.
make the move and make the
Mm-hmm.
wave that it needs to make. And I think
Mm-hmm.
uh you need a rebel genius to come out here and come out with something different that's going to blow people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That or you start to carve off a bit of an all electric series,
Yep.
but as part of the documenting of that, you're documenting the trials and tribulations of this new technology, kind of like what
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke did with his touring around with electric bikes, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to show it off. You got to show the hard work. You got to see what's being. People love seeing the behind the scenes of what's going into this.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
I
that's
know.
actually the
And,
best
and
part
you
of the
and
That's
story.
like a
you got to do
reality
it.
TV show right
Yeah,
there.
you go out there and you make it look sexy.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. Uh, let's sign that deal.
Yeah.
Jeez. Jeez. No, that's cool. The only thing that comes to mind for me in this sort of category, and you know more about this world than I do, but like it's Formula E, like that
Yeah.
is kind of a cool thing with racing electric cars and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So,
And you know what's
um,
funny? I've never been big into that type of racing. Like
really?
I no, I never. I always thought it was boring. I find it very interesting now because here are these people going, God, over 100 miles an hour,
I
you know, and they're just flying in very little protection. We got a helmet and some leather,
know.
you
Uh-huh.
know, and you're maneuvering around a course without killing yourself, and that takes a
Yeah.
lot of skill. You know,
Right. But you've
I
also
can
got the
appreciate it.
technology, right? Like
Mhm.
I gained a lot more appreciation for Formula One when I watched the documentary Senna, right?
Mm.
Of the one of the world's famous Formula One drivers. I think he was Brazilian. Yeah, and they talk about the history and evolution of the technology of the cars as well as
Yeah,
the driving and how they both symbiotically change the sport together,
yeah.
right? And it's something similar, I think, that we're talking about here, right? There's going to
It
be the
has to be.
key
It has to be
riders.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be both. It has to be integrated. And
Hmm.
you know what? Who knows the way technology is going? It's going to be maybe a machine that works off your thoughts. It already knows where you want to go and what you want to do, and bam, you're there. You know?
Oh man, that I feel like that would be scary for me. We'd be bouncing all over town and I'd finally get to my destination.
And just fly up and straight there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the difference in our brains. But I think one of the things that's really interesting to me here, and I wonder if we could just double click on it because I'm
Mhm.
sure is this cultural element, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
kind of touched on it when you were like, you said something about, introducing an e-bike to the Harley culture or, trying to figure out this cultural element. I think that's
Mhm.
really core because like, you had mentioned the e-bikes and the Harley culture didn't quite fit or something. But I'm just curious, like, can we like what are some like what do you think? Like what's some ways to like what to like break
Power
through?
power sport culture is very diverse. As
Okay.
in, you have guys that are hunters, and that's what,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
in eight, and they have their side by sides or the ATVs, and that they have their culture. Then you have guys that are racing ATVs, dirt bikes, motorcycles, and that's a different culture. And then you have your street guys, the guys that are out there on the street just riding in groups or in group lines like motorcycle clubs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
meetups, and then you have there's another group I met out here that I got introduced to that I had no idea about was a trick street bike tricks. Man,
Wow.
I'm butchering it up, but they're called
Yeah.
Texas Street Slayers, and they're going out there and they're in these empty lots, popping wheelies and doing stunts and just having a good time. And that's a different culture on its own
Yeah.
too. And you have so many different cultures, and each one um, kind of interact with each other, but don't.
Okay.
It's really weird, but it's also
What
very interesting.
do they and are they letting you in to document no matter what the culture is? Are they
Yeah,
comfortable
yeah, they're
with
very open
having
about it
somebody there documenting this whole thing?
because they want to share their passion. They want to share their love. This is
Yeah.
what they love doing. The guys that love hunting, like all of our sales guys,
Yeah.
they're avid hunters, and they'll go off bow hunting or hog hunting, whatever. That's their culture. I have other guys here that race tracks. That's their
Yeah.
culture. That's what they do, and it's fun. And but each one has like technology integrated into it in different aspects of it that are helping each one out individually in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. God, so interesting. Because we like this is like we're talking a lot of times tech on large scales large system power systems powering
Yeah.
like music festivals or a film set or whatever, and you forget like how it can really drill down and be useful or help for like people doing lots of different things.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Uh,
that's super
and how
interesting.
has the camera technology then evolved? You mentioned that when you were first out in the field, on the ground, military stuff, you were using film and digital, and now obviously, I mean, it's all digital.
It's all digital, and then you got C logs and S logs and all kinds of different bells and whistles added. But at the end of the day, it's a tool to tell a story. The technology is changing, and for cameras and stuff, really fast. What, like 10K, 8K now. I'm not even shooting at that because of what I'm putting my images on. Nobody's really looking at that high of a definition, anyways.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the technology, and not just that, how you deliver your imagery has changed so vastly. Where I can go out in the field, I take some really neat photos, put them on my phone, and then bam, they're on the website. They're on the social medias. It's advertising, and we're moving on to the next. It's very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get your drone shots
Mhm.
going.
Yeah, you could live stream your drone shots. We've tried that, ran into some issues, but
It's better when you can take it and then like know you have it and then
yeah,
it'll schedule it out.
yeah,
or
it's a lot
whatever.
better that I can just go out there and film it, and don't have to worry about glitches, and put something nice together.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm curious, like,
Mhm.
from folks that come in or just folks that see your work otherwise, like, well, I guess two questions.
Mhm.
Can you like tell us, like, tell us, are you working on anything else right now, like that, that you want to share or, just curious. And then secondly, like, what's the feedback that you receive about the work,
So I'm working on a couple projects. I got a couple short films that I got one out in California called Alone that I'm working with a group of friends out there. We're just trying to find actors and stuff like that, getting that going, trying to find a new lighting guy. And then I'm trying to, I got another one written and I'm working on trying to put a crew together out here in Texas and they kind of shoot that. It's a fun little side project for me that I want to do, just see if I can do it.
yeah,
And if it goes through, cool, I'll go put it in a festival. If not, hey, I gave it a try. Let's move on to the next project.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, and then the
totally.
feedback is pretty good, right? And I don't get too much
Okay.
as a photographer, but as of lately, as of doing more of the photos and integrating the videos into what we're doing, especially in our advertisement, it's a lot of good feedback. A lot of people come up to me and like, hey, do you use the photos for your website? I'm like, yeah. It's like beautiful. Like eh, I enjoy looking through them, and I meet friends that way. I've been
Yeah.
stopped maybe 2 or 3 times about that in the past 2 years from working here.
Oh,
And the people I work with, they're all very kind and loving, and they support everything that I put out, and I appreciate that because I'm going to keep supporting them. So,
yeah,
Absolutely. And hey,
yeah.
where does the pen name come from? And why do you sort of operate under a pen name sometimes?
I enjoy it. It's kind of like bringing out a alter ego,
Right.
Yeah.
and my buddy Juan back home helped me come up with it. Just because like Tony Linan doesn't sound scary.
Yeah.
Let's go with the like Ronin
Ronan.
braids. I'm like, that sounds scary. Let's do that. And it just sounds creepy and cool. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. It's just
Yeah, and get you in behind the scenes, like
That's
dark
right.
dark corners,
yeah.
capturing
Yeah.
dark things.
I'm not like that at all. I'm a very loving and caring person. But I like dark subjects. I do.
Yeah.
I find the concept of good versus evil amazing.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's a battle that everyone can relate to in some way, shape, or form.
We're all like feeling it every
Mhm.
day, probably in different ways, right?
Oh,
So,
absolutely. So
yeah.
and that's why I like kind of I would say traditional horror, not so much gore
Mm.
factor. It's like a guy got his leg chopped off. Just the being scared of what could be out there,
Uh-huh.
and knowing that it's evil, and that the only hope is the lady that's the only surviving lead lady, and it's fun storytelling. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, I've got some movies that have really like traumatized me from my youth.
Me too. I
Scared of
still
what
I
could be.
Yeah, I still check behind the shower curtain before going to the bathroom. I always
Every
have
time I
to.
jump off, like, into the water, I'm like, wonder what's out here.
Mhm. I've seen a lot of movies where
I've
there's
stayed away
alligators
from
in
those.
lakes.
I watched comedy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Probably watched too much at a young age. So seared into my brain. But that's the effect of, of all of this, of the storytelling and whatnot. You can really like pierce into someone's soul, through this work. So it's
And storytelling is just kind of a revealing of the soul,
yeah.
And
That's a good point.
and what I'm doing is I'm revealing the soul of the machine. And
Mm.
it's fun, it's powerful, it's raw, and
Yeah.
and here we are as humans trying to harness it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are, and we're out here riding it, we're tweaking it, and we're making it do what we want, And it just, I think that's what humans, they like doing it. They like tinkering and making it
Mhm.
work for them and making it better in some way, not just for them, but for the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And isn't that what we're just all trying to do with
Yeah,
with our
absolutely.
work in lots of different ways? Like, how do we do this, make this cool, do this better, make it
Mhm.
last for our kids, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, there's a lot of cool tech out there. It just, I don't think it's advertised right. It's not, it's just, maybe it's just not advertised right. The angle's not right. Maybe they don't have the right enough money being pushed towards it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
maybe they just need a different perspective on how to market it.
Yeah.
Tony, you're clearly a young guy. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, 20 years as machines and motorsports evolve, as technology evolves, like
Man,
that's
honestly, well, I'm kind of hoping at least get at least one feature film done by then. We'll see, fingers crossed. But for the
yeah.
power sports, golly, it's like the sky's the limit, really, and it's so crazy watching it every day as something new comes out, and you're like, oh crap, what's next now? What are we gonna do after this? You got integrated systems that help you with balance.
Mhm.
You got better fuel efficiency coming out of some of these motorcycles now, and it's like, how much better can it get? And it
Mm-hmm.
can. We've seen a few of the hybrids come rolling through here, so it's just a matter of time before it's going to get integrated into a lot more stuff. And maybe they don't even need to mention that it's integrated
Right.
into it,
Mm-hmm.
and just make it be. And
Mm-hmm.
but make sure that as long as they keep on the path of it's about like the ride and the journey. I think as the as power sports goes forward, we're gonna be okay. But if we get away
Yeah.
from that and just try to sell cool stuff because it's cool, now it won't last.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
But 10 years from now, if I'm still doing this, I think I'll still be a very happy man.
Cool.
Amazing.
That's the Marcus doing something you love.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, tell us where your shop is and and how people can find you and anything else you wanna plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work for Wood Cycle Country in New Braunfels, Texas. You can find all the information you want at woodcyclecountry.com and also woodsindianmotorcycle.com. They're the same shop. They're right next to each other. Both really cool. Oh man, what else do I want? I'm not good at plugging myself, but
I know, I'm not either.
check out my website. It's roninphotographer.com. I put up some of my old stuff, hopefully some new stuff here soon, and whatever else is happening.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it. I love your perspective on this and how you're just kind of breaking boundaries in the documentary kind of world and in motorsports and whatnot. So cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
well,
cool stuff.
hopefully other filmmakers want to join in too, because I could use the help. That'd be nice.
Oh, yeah. Great idea. All right, Tony. Cool. Well, thank you so
Oh,
Thank you,
much.
Tony, aka Ronan Graves.
Ronan Graves. Look for that name.
Zena and Mark, thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the tie-in. Today, we are speaking with Isaiah Smith, also known as Zaya, who is a theater actor and producer, and also a podcast host and producer. And your podcast is called The Zaya Show, which I understand centers on self-discovery and personal growth. which of course we love those topics. We could talk about them all day. So I was super excited about that. Welcome to the tie-in.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me, y'all. I've been watching a few episodes for some time. I like to get a good tie-in to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We love it.
Tie into it.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Well, very cool. Good to have you. So why don't we just kick off with a little context? Love to learn more about you. So why don't you tell us about yourself and then, like what you're focusing on right now?
Right. So first off, of course, my name is Isaiah, aka Zaya. I am a theater actor. As far as my theater background, because I know we're gonna be touching a lot on theater. I did literally like how many shows I did? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got the posters all hung up. So I did like 15 productions.
Nice.
So I did theater that was outside. I did theater that was inside. I did improv theater. I did French theater. I did everything except opera, which I can't.
Not yet.
Now my mom's like opera. I'm also a podcaster. So I podcast with the Zaya Show, talk about self-discovery. So I use kind of my theatrical side to it, which is kind of exciting. I'm also, I was an assistant director before. A lot of people don't know that, but as assistant director, I got to do that for 2 productions back in the day. As well, I'm a grad student studying strategic communication. So being able to communicate, also marketing understanding with stability and also environmental is something that comes up a lot within business too. As well, what else do I do? I also have a pet named Blade, and he's a pit bull. So I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, very cool. Well, it's cool because we don't get to talk to a lot of theater folks. We've talked to folks in film and TV who started out in theater and then have made that leap. So I am curious to dive into, your background and your experience in theater. That's super exciting. So you mentioned, working both inside and outside. Can you just help us understand, like, what's the difference there, and like what are the different dynamics associated with that?
Got you. So the main difference is, okay, so for my theater people are like, oh my gosh, you know this terminology. Then there gonna be something like, what is it? So there's black box theater. So there's different types of theaters. There's black box, there's arenas, there's all round stage, all that good stuff. But the real true history of theater started off outside. As we modernized and developed as humans, we start building inside. Who wants to be outside all the time? However, there's different challenges because when you're inside, you're more in a controlled environment with lighting, special effects, sound, versus when you're outside, you have to deal with environmental challenges.
And just before we dive too much deeper, just the thing that first comes to mind too is also obviously the weather. Right. Yes. So you think you're putting on, just coming out of Burning Man, you probably follow the news. Obviously, you're trying to put on a world-class production, and all of a sudden it rains and shuts everything down, or the wind, or this and that. Is that something that's coming up more and more in terms of where folks are doing these outdoor productions?
Good question. So actually, I'm in Louisiana. So Louisiana is definitely home to the hurricanes. Like, oh my gosh, 20th year of Katrina. So it's always been a thing. My first experience of outdoor theater actually happened because of Hurricane Ida destroyed our theater. And so in a way of like, okay, we got these shows that's supposed to happen in November. It's September now. What we're going to do? Are we going to do it at a church? Are we going to do it at another theater? But it's going to be traveling because you're working with college students as well. So it's like outdoors are the only thing. Our director at the time was like, outdoors gonna be fun, it's gonna be amazing. But we obviously had that in the back of our mind, like it could rain, it could be windy. We also was right by the railroad track, so you could hear the train coming. Sometimes you can't predict it. But the only challenge that we really faced was that it was colder than what we expected. So we had to layer up our costumes. Which we were already clothed, but it was like layer on layer. And then also you have to take into account you're building the seating around you as well. So it's like the blocking you did with your scene partner might be cool and amazing if it was in a controlled setting, but now you have to think of a different way to do it. I had to do stunts on mats instead because it was on concrete too. So it was definitely a different experience, but it's one experience that really opened me up to like, oh my gosh, theater could really happen anywhere. Because before that, I always did theater inside, which I mean is fun, but I feel like outdoor theater is so much more fun. Like imagine crying about having a sad monologue and then the rain starts. Like that would be amazing. Like so dramatic.
If only you could time it and plan for
like
that.
perfectly.
I mean, yeah, especially that's so. I mean, I guess it just like you're kind of like it adds this kind of element of surprise too, and also I can imagine a bit of stress, especially on the production side and the planning side.
Definitely. So, of course, our production team, while the actors we're learning our lines, but their main thing was how we're going to get the lighting because we're doing it in a parking garage. Just to give y'all some imagery. So now you have to
design the set in the parking garage and you move it over to the stage. Okay, got it.
So now it's like you're building a whole set in a parking garage. So now it's like because you could build an amazing set because it was like a old school Roman type of show, but it's like, do we want to bring up this heavy equipment all the way up here and take it down, or are we just going to be using our resources and what nature gives us and call it a day? So like having that eco-friendly type of theater could also help out production focus on what they need to focus on, which is the cues and the lines, and not always just like the shock factor.
Right. Huh.
The more you know.
The more, Well, this is what I love, like digging in. Like I had never really thought about it like that, so it's so interesting to, like, wow. So okay, because I'm a nerd. How do you get the set? Do you build the sets that so they're easily disassembled so that they can then move to the outdoor venue that you're going to shoot, or like how difficult is that part? That's like the first thing I think about.
No, it's so fun. Oh my gosh, I love behind the scenes of theater. Like a lot of people think like, oh, you're just an actor, you don't do it. I was like, no, I love that. And also what I love about every single theater I've been in, it's like actors and production was never like actors here, production here. It's like we all work together to build this production. We all in it. Now for that production, because we got university approval, we was actually just able to build it within that area already and had that parking garage area blocked out from everybody else. So we kind of got lucky. Now getting that stuff to that parking garage was a little challenge because we had a van, so I mean we could just drive in a van. So I mean that was problem solved, but because that campus it will be a long walk if you're going to be walking with a piece of
Oh, totally.
So,
yeah.
Good times.
So I kind of thinking this through and kind of peeling the onion a little bit here. I'm just curious, we talk a lot about sustainability, eco-friendly practices, going green, energy efficiency, communication, like how we
storytelling.
Like, can you break it down for us? Like, how are you thinking about these kinds of things in your work? I'm curious. Like, are you well seasoned? Are you just new to it? Like I don't know.
Right.
Or you're doing your master's in it.
Yes, I'm getting my master's in it. So actually, since we're peeling the onion all the way back, so I actually work in higher education too. So I work for public institutions, I work for private institutions. So I'm able to see different things on a different level where it's like eco-friendly, of course, but also when it coming to podcasting, I can even see through certain trends. And my thing is I'm always a bit more, I guess in my theater brain is like, how can I tell a story, but how can I not overdo it? Because I feel like the whole purpose of a story or an interview or a conversation, it's like, that's what people just want to hear. We're yearning for community and communication and storytelling. We're not always looking for the shock factor or that really big equipment that's gonna cause harm to so many things out in the world, or we're looking for some type of shock factor like clothing that's like fast fashion. Like I used to buy Shein, but once I figured out what happened, I kind of got away from Shein. So that was one thing that I personally changed. Another thing that I changed about it is just like how I promote on my podcast, because I'm very cautious of what things that I promote, because I'm like, every single form of communication is going to be influenced. Like as we could tell through the world, is you're going to be influenced through some type of thing. So might as well get my audience that's about self-growth, be like, okay, let's talk about eco-friendly things, not always like crazy stuff. So it's always like for me a bit like it's always in the back of my mind, but it's already because of my life already that I'm already eco-friendly that I don't think of in a way of going away from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely.
kind of already just been in, and also just having that theater background where it's like we are always making something out of scratch because nobody wants to give us money.
Yeah.
It's like you learn real quick how to be eco-friendly. So with podcasting, I kind of just use the resources that I just need. I don't always go overboard with it. So just keep it simple and plain. And then the story will be healthy and beautiful as well. That's my best piece of advice. So I've been doing podcasting for 5 years. I've been doing theater since 2015. That's the best thing I could say for any good show or any conversation. Just keep it simple. We always don't need a dramatic. We like it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you finding though that the audience is also starting to ask for this type of content or different storylines that are pertaining to something that's more relevant? How has that changed in the last decade since you have started?
Wow. So I would say when I first started theater, it was always like that cheesy comedy. And I had an amazing theater teacher, Miss Lanson, in high school that taught us different forms of theater and different eras of theater. So we would do the 1600s, 1700 type of shows. Then we'll do like a 1930s, 40s type of comedy. So it was like you learn real quick. The main thing that always passed through the theater scripts of those iconic shows, even musicals, is that it tells a story, and everybody's coming for the story. Nobody's going to remember what you wore on Act Two, Scene Two, that beautiful bubblegum pink outfit. Everybody's going to remember the story and what it meant to them. So people always yearning for connection. And as I obviously went through COVID, what did we have? Lack of communications, emotions, and that caused a whole nother realm where my mom started working in mental health. And so I kind of got to see from her perspective what she's dealing with her patients. And then also going to college during that time, we all just wanted connection. Even in theater, it was like, yes, that costume is amazing, but we want to get back to doing what we love as actors, and we want to get back to doing on production and all that. So even doing the podcast, it's like everybody's yearning for connection and communication and storytelling. Like nobody really cares about the things that everybody thinks on Twitter. Like, oh my gosh, we need to have fire tactics and we need to have this big $1,000 theater that's going to take out like half of the wildlife. Like nobody really cares. Everybody just wants a story. And if you could tell a story, people will love it.
Yeah.
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 Beautiful.
I know. I feel like there's like the rise of the independent, like,
Yes.
I guess you could say broadly speaking, but, Mark and I have worked in film and TV and for a little while. And one of the things that trends that I'm seeing, and I'm curious if you see this as well, because of this yearning for connection and community and like almost like personal agency, like I can do a thing. We had a guest on talking about that as well. And it just really made me kind of like an aha moment, like, of course, like, yes. And now the power of technology, and we've got, phones that can, do things, and like, you can do probably pop-up theater like anywhere. And I'm just curious, like, if you notice that as well, where it's where, there's like this rise of the independent, theater company or group, and what that means and how people are getting together on that.
I really love the theater that's becoming more independent. I would say it's not only, I would say, in general, I feel like across the board with arts and entertainment, that the artists and the entertainers are taking it back to themselves, which I personally love. Not seeing big corporations like, yes, there's Broadway, but you don't have to always make it to Broadway to be that actor. Now, if you want to go to Broadway, that's on you. That's perfect. But for me, I never felt like I needed to go that route. I love working with community theaters. I feel like there's more community theaters popping up everywhere. Now in Louisiana, it's a little different because obviously where we are and how everything's looking, we're actually losing some community theaters. But when you look at states like Georgia, Texas. Oh my God, Texas is always growing. There's different areas within the United States where community theater and that independence is growing. But I would say strictly for Louisiana, I've been seeing a lot of growth within independent filmmakers because of the lack of theaters now. All those theater kids are now forced to be like, okay, let me make this Tubi movie, or let me make this YouTube show, or let me go into podcasting. So it's kind of very interesting to see when you take away theater, a theater kid is always going to find another way to do something.
Right.
So I've been seeing a rise of that, and then also a rise of independent films festivals, which I really love seeing teenagers, because I know even though I grew up with technology, it was like we wasn't thinking about that. We was thinking about like, oh my gosh, there's theater at school. But now when you're taking all these fundings out of school, now students are getting more creative to continue their passions.
Yeah.
And spreading the message, right? I mean, how important when you're putting a production together or you're talking to your peers is kind of potentially having something go viral, or do you have somebody say, hey, look, why don't you just tape this while we're doing this thing and maybe it can go viral, right? Like, is that a consideration now, especially in live theater and pop-up?
I would say actually, I would say for theater, I never experienced that because I always had the director that's like, it's a story, it's gonna be a story. We're not looking for that moment. However, I always seen theater productions that, of course, they promote, like promote your show, do amazing. But I feel like the ones that always look for a viral moment is always the ones that doing independent film. Where if it's like it's not gonna win in a film festival, at least it'll go viral on TikTok for like this sound or like this, or YouTube, or it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. So I think it's more of like social media type of viral if it's being promoted on a web platform. If it's a theater show, I feel like theater's not looking for that viral moment because theaters already kind of understand like we're not getting as much money like we should. So I feel like they would not, like they're not as forced to think like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And yeah. Well, I guess on the sort of promotion, or I just get the community element of it all. I'm curious, like how you're seeing, I mean, I didn't know that, community theater was, kind of lacking or leaving Louisiana. That hadn't crossed my radar, but I'm just curious, like, how is the local community? I mean, like the town, the city, how are they responding to these kinds of things? Like trends in theater, like, they're, maybe a local theater shuts down, or maybe they like engage more with it and there's an opportunity to have some kind of reciprocal relationship. Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, so I see it in different areas. So the theater programs, because I'm very heavy in theater, like I'm obsessed with theater. Even if I don't act in a show, I'll go to a show to show support. I feel like there's more trends of a local theater that does kid-friendly shows in Louisiana does better because the whole family could be involved. So if it's like we're doing, like, for example, kid-friendly Christmas Carol show, Grandma Susan could come, Grandpa could come, cousin could come, grandson could come, granddaughter, and it's not going to be a show that's going to challenge anybody's public, like, political views or beliefs that might make them feel a little wonky, versus some local theaters that try to push that envelope going to struggle a little because it's like, now you have a problem because we're in I hate to say, a red state. So it's like you have to be a little, as a theater, are we going to do this show for experience, experimental, or are we going to do this show for money? And so the thing that I see is more local theaters doing shows that are just like clean fun, escapism. We're not touching that. We're not thinking like that. Because there was a theater that did try to push the envelope. And it was with the old school show from Tennessee Williams, The Cat on the Hot Tin Roof. And this show was actually rated in the 40s or the 50s. And obviously we know about segregation. And it was a little controversial with the casting because they wanted to do casting traditional. Now, of course, in these public, like, political times right now, that's kind of hard, and you shouldn't really be doing that. But that was one that openly shut down, obviously because of the public views of them. So that shows as well the community can make it or break it for you. So it's kind of been like a lot of people, because there's been a show that did Hunchback of Notre Dame. So it's been a lot of more I would say, escapism shows that's been happening, which I think is so much more fun. But I also think because of the political views and how the tension is feeling within the state of Louisiana, it's like escapism is probably best right now for just productions.
Do you? It's so
Makes sense.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
It does.
I start asking questions around that because I'm kind of like digging in, like what does it really mean? And like all this.
Right.
Do you think though that like the escapism, I get that, and that is, like wonderful and all. Do you think that that seems like a survival mechanism? Like we're going to do this because we need to survive as a theater. But then on the other side of that, do you also see it as like, censorship in a, without saying that word?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
right?
And actually,
Well, like a self-censorship.
Or
I mean,
something
yeah,
like
censorship.
that.
I agree because one show that I would love to do, and I'm not sure if y'all familiar with it, but it's called Angels in America. And it literally follows essentially the 80s, the AIDS and HIV epidemic. And it's a very beautiful story with spiritual, and it's a 2-act. It's a 2-play type of, it's a big script. But but it will always be like in my head, never Louisiana would do that show. Or if it's like, the most controversial show you might get is a Katrina anniversary story. Because everybody knows Katrina here, everybody feels comfortable, but I just don't. It's just that the theaters was different, where it was like everybody would challenge a little.
Yeah.
right.
It's not
But
like
is that,
But
can you not sometimes use your community, your close-knit community as the incubation place, and then you can take this on the road, right? Once you've sort of worked it out, because the beautiful thing about theater is you're not just limited, right, to where you are. You can take this thing to the 1,000 other small community and larger theaters around North America, including Canada.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's another thing where it comes with economic growth as well with performers, because it feels like mentally, I feel like performers feels like I can't do that because I don't have funding, or I can't travel across southwest of the United States up to the West Coast with this theater show because I don't have enough money or I don't have the time. So I feel like to be eco-friendly, but also getting their stories out there, I feel like people are turning to podcasts to interview and talk about it, or they're doing scenes on YouTube, which is really cool. That I like that trend of. So there's been a lot of eco-friendly type of push, where it's like they're not wasting products or wasting costumes. They're literally using the clothes off their back and some makeup to literally tell a story. And I think that's a beautiful, and also a trend of monologues happening. So they won't necessarily write a whole story where they need 50 people. They'll just do a monologue to tell that story. So I think that's beautiful too.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like, it feels like people are finding a way. Is really
that's
kind
what I
of
love about it.
Yeah, just what it boils down to. And like you said earlier, which I think, like, like the theater kids who can't find the theater to go do their thing, they're finding another creative avenue. And people just find a way, because we all love stories and we all love hearing about other people and, or other worlds or whatever it is, right?
Right.
So, yeah, the human spirit is really
the human spirit of it all. That's literally what people are yearning for.
Yeah. Well, so, I guess it's a bigger, maybe a bigger question. I don't know, but I'm just curious, like, when you're thinking about, doing a show or, and talking to different folks, what do you think is behind?
No.
What do you think is stopping people from leaning in sometimes to either, giving money, or maybe they don't have it, but maybe there's like, something else, or, providing space or whatever it might be, or doing something eco-friendly or whatever it is.
I love that question, because me and some other people, we go in on this because there's so many reasons where they will. Okay, there's so many reasons, and some people will not believe it because they'll be like, it will never happen, but these things does happen.
Yeah.
There are reasons where sometimes money plays a factor. So you have to do some market research. I come from marketing background, which I can understand, where you got to do a show where everybody knows that show and people
Sure.
could buy tickets. So if you had a lackluster show before, you need to make a show that's gonna make some money for the theater so that we could do the next challenging show. So that could also be one area. It could be an area of sometimes your demographic won't understand that language. So doing Shakespeare, yes, that's amazing, but it would have to be a Shakespeare that everybody knows. It could be a Shakespeare that you know your actors and actresses can learn because people have different dialects. We're in a melting pot, so is it going to be able to grasp? Because I remember there was one show that I was in where we had to learn a Russian dialect accent. So imagine getting Southern people to do a whole new accent within 1 month. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but we made it happen. And then also another reason could be sometimes people not going to get the show. If the director feels like he can't understand, he or she or they can't understand the show, why would the other people understand the show? Another reason could be sometimes the actors. If you know you have a certain actor that you want to work with and you want that actor to be strategically in but not show favoritism, sometimes some shows are chosen for certain actors to be a part of already. Which that one is the one that always be like in my back, just like, ooh, I feel bad for people. And then another one, of course, would be about playing it safe. And if it's the script is too complicated or if it's too messy, they don't want to do it. Or sometimes it could be connections. If you know a playwright that's like been a friend of 20 plus years and they want to put their show up, hey, yeah, let's do it because you're not going to do me wrong as a friend. So there's different reasons, but those are the type of trends that I personally see.
Oh,
Right. What what are you most excited about right now? You know, when you're looking at the work that you're doing, your friends, you know, your peers, is there anything that's exciting you the most stylistically or you know, just generally speaking?
I'm more excited that specifically with theater, and I'm so excited that escapism is coming back because I just feel like right now in these times it's just like we just want to laugh. We don't want to think about another problem. So I think having escapism coming back full force in theater, it really does wonder for people. Like my cousin did a theater show, her dream show, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that show literally lifted her spirits up in ways where I can't express, and I'm just so happy for her now. So I'm just looking forward of just like being part of a show where it's like escapism and just fun and creative and it's challenging, but also I'm looking forward to getting into more of the marketing for theaters to get a little more details of like the market research and how people choose a show and how we can market a show. So those are the main two, but I'm going leaning into the marketing research first just because I'm one of those nerds. I mean, I love school. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to learn this because it's like literally what I'm studying. And I want to do it for theaters too, just to help them get the word out so they can feel comfortable doing these edgy shows.
It's funny you mentioned that because I went to a theater show maybe a year ago with my mom, with my 78-year-old mom at the time. And she took me to this production. It was called Made in Italy, and it was in Vancouver, and it was like an older Italian family, and they love disco and disco dancing, and it was like comedy, and it was just like it was just pure entertainment. And just incredible dancing and acting, and you're resonating with me, right? I mean, and it was sold out every night.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, and I think that's the one thing where as an actor, we all have our problems regardless who you are. We all have our problems in this world or we have new challenges that comes up. I'm in my 20s and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. But when I go into the theater and when I put on a character, it's like I go away and I get to be something that I'm not and have like that imagination. So having escapism right now could help block out what you really need to hear for I guess for the audience too that just wants that they're mentally exhausted of hearing breaking news, bad news, this happening, yada yada. People want to hear laugh, be happy, smile. So when people
want to go out and be seen, right, in the community too, because you're not sitting in. I think that's a big part of the theater is who's in that room, or who do you see at the intermission?
I know.
Exactly. And that's always a fun part because the last theater show I did, it was heavy on audience interaction. So I love going in, doing improv, making jokes. And I literally made a Golden Girls joke to the mayor of a small town where I was like, oh my gosh, I could get shaded for this. But she just laughed with her girlfriends. And I'm like, see, this is what it's all about. Just laughing, having fun. Like
Yeah, but yeah,
live in the
so
moment.
it's not you, it's your character.
Yes. So, hey, the Golden Girls here. I thought y'all did. Like that was a joke.
No, right? That's the fun part. Man, I wish I could do that more. I mean, geez, sounds like we all need to
Right.
take more theater lessons.
to take an improv class. It's hard.
Improv is the best way to get into theater. I
Yeah.
always say improv classes will be the best because you're always gonna have that moment where you forget a line or you forget something. And I had those moments, and improv will always save your butt every single time.
Yeah. I took a improv level 1 and then took a level 2 recently, and
Oh wow.
it was hard, and I kind of, you don't really fail them, but I actually like didn't pass to the point where I was going to go to like the more advanced one.
Yes.
You're stuck
No,
at
it
level
it
2?
wasn't a bad thing. I had like a not a good partner for the show, and it was like roadblocks.
Yeah.
Because you do like 2 shows in level 2 anyways. It was just like, but it was just so funny. I was like, cool, I get it. I'm not gonna move on to the more
No.
like advanced levels, but it was just a fun experience, but still very humbling. Very, very, very humbling.
Now, my favorite memory of when improv saved my life, because literally, I kid you not, the main thing is you never say no. So
Yeah.
I had this scene, and it was like I forgot. It was literally like in high school. It was like my senior show. So it was like I was recovering from bronchitis. So I was reading the scripts. I was the understudy. Then I got the principal role. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get this right. And you get in your head sometimes. So I'm going through my monologue. My monologue was literally a page and a half.
Ooh.
So imagine you're applying for colleges, you're trying to figure out your life, and you got memorized. Like I was like the one of the leads, so I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure this out. So I'm dying on the couch, and I have this blood pill that I'm doing, and I'm just like, what's the line? What's the line? And I just go into the days like, because I'm passing, like I'm dying, so I just go like this, and I'm just like, God, please give me this line, and I just said it in a different way. Another time where improv literally failed was when I was in an audition. That's when it sucks. I feel like whenever I see an audience, I will always get it. But when I'm in an audition room, it's just like my nerves get the best of me. So it was for a Shakespeare show, Romeo and Juliet. And I did a monologue for Midnight Summer as Puck. And everybody knows in theater, Puck is a beautiful character, so you want to do it right. But the monologue, it was like 2 pages. I don't know why I do this to myself, but I memorized it 3 days ago before that audition. I literally got to the audition. I kid you not. I went through that first page because I could visually see in my brain. And then that second page was like blank, like SpongeBob blank. Like it was no hope. So all I did was I just said the first page all over again, all auto. And I was like, and for though we shall not see. And I was like, dang. And the director said, did you just say the same monologue over? And I was like,
yes.
yes, and I improv. And he was like, okay, well, we'll think about it. And obviously, I didn't get the role.
Yeah, but valuable skills, and also, I mean, I think just to wrap up the improv stuff, but it's like even in business, right? In business school or in any kind of even academic settings, like if people were to take improv classes and learn those basic skills, I think the world would be a better place.
Yes, and people will learn how to talk correctly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had improv that saved me in my professional career because I was an admissions recruiter. I'm an admissions advisor now, but I was an admission recruiter for an institution, and we already know how public image looks. So when you get asked those outlandish questions, and you're like, how do I even answer? Because one kid asked, he asked a very sensitive question where it was like political, and I literally just looked at him and I said, good question. And I'm not gonna say it, but his name is so funny because I literally he's funny now. This was funny, but we always laugh about it because I literally looked at him. I said, quick question, pop quiz. What's your first amendment? Freedom of what? Thank you. Next question. Like improv will always save me at work. It will always save me from those weird questions. So
Oh
I feel like
my-
everybody should take an improv class at least once. So you did good, Mark, for going up to
Agreed.
2. But you're going to get to 3.
Yeah,
You're
no,
gonna
you
get-
keep at it, Mark. You get to level 3.
I'll just switch cities. I'll just switch cities and start over again.
Yeah, nobody
Or
will.
get a new partner. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much for helping us peel this onion. And curious, like, tell us, where can people find you, and what should they be
Podcast.
looking for next?
Right. You can always find me at a theater. But seriously, my podcast, The Zaya Show, I'm actually coming back for season 9. I've been away for a while.
Wow, congratulations.
And this season is all about happiness. And I like to say this season is about, because you always hear the journey of people saying, like, I want to be happy. But what happens when you are happy? How you sustain that happiness. So that's what season 9 tackles, where it's like, we're happy already. So you're happy. We're trying to maintain that happiness. So season 9 is going to be released on September 23rd. As well for theater, stay tuned, because I'm currently in my break right now, but I will be getting back to the theater stage. As well, other than that, I'm literally studying like a master's student. I'm taking term classes, so literally just working hard, and I graduate in the spring, and I work on that big capstone project.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my capstone project, I'm really determined. I'm gonna talk to y'all, because I feel like y'all would help me come up with a good case study to do for sure.
Oh, we're full of ideas.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
And if not, we know incredible writers and collaborators who are at the forefront of just whatever we're calling sustainability, but it's just great storytelling,
We're
right?
just great storytelling. So,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So that's
Very good. Very good. Well, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we wish you all the best. This has been fun.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
Zaya,
And
thank
also,
you.
y'all be sure to subscribe,
Oh,
comment
yeah.
down below, like, share the Taya podcast. I'm your call to
Yeah.
action today.
Thanks,
Way to
Zaya.
go. Thank you. We were just about to say that,
I
but I
can't
love
just
it
come
that
on
you
and take
did.
everything away. No, that's not
Oh,
being
you got it,
eco-friendly.
man. Okay.
Yeah, and then listen to the podcast for the secrets to happiness and sustaining happiness, right? On your
I
on the
know.
Zaya, the Zaya show.
I know. The
It's
Zaya
atheism.
show. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Social media is by Picnic Social. Our editor and producer is Rachel Werble.